Now, Russia has conducted one of its largest, most lethal strikes on Ukraine's energy grid, and Ukraine has moved to paralyze Russia's explosives plants. Our next report explores how Europe is on the edge of dealing with an energy crisis, with the war between the two enemies refusing to die down. Take a look.
A series of strikes and counterstrikes. Ukraine and Russia are armed to the teeth, trying to paralyze each other's energy grid and drain natural oil and gas reserves. In the last 24 hours, Russia launched one of its most lethal and massive attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Ukraine says it has not experienced an attack of this magnitude since Russia launched its offensive in 2022. A wave of over 300 drones and missiles evaded US-made Patriot defense system, plunging millions into darkness in Ukraine. Kyiv's largest state-run gas firm, Naftogaz, said Russian attack hit its main gas production sites in Poltava, which is in the Kharkiv region. Russian Heldak Su-35 struck Ukrainian positions in its overnight attack. Moscow claims its bird destroyed Ukrainian personnel and armored vehicles using UMPK glide bombs. Ukraine moved to attack one of Russia's largest ever chemical plants. Its Azot facility is Russia's only producer of higher aliphatic amines, an ammonium nitrate which is also a component in explosives. Kyiv security services launched UTE drones, which traveled over 1,500 kilometers from the front lines and smashed into Russian Orsk refinery. As Ukraine awaits for US President Donald Trump's nod on its Tomahawk missiles, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that the delivery of long-range cruise missiles to Ukraine would translate into a dangerous escalation in the war and hurt Russia's equation with the US.
Can Tomahawks harm us? They can. We'll be shooting them down and improving our air defense systems. Will this damage our relations with the US, which are now seeing some light at the end of the tunnel? Of course it will. But how could it be otherwise?
While Trump mulls over Tomahawks, his administration has cleared $51 million in arms sales for Kyiv. Russia seems to be sharpening its own weapons kit. Moscow has upgraded its Iskander-M short-range ballistic missiles and Kh-47M2 Kinzhal air-launched missiles. The Kinzhal, dubbed as Killjoy by NATO, is Russia's latest system with hypersonic aeroballistic missiles. The Kinzhal missile features low radar signature and high maneuverability and is designed to strike ground and naval targets. It flies at a normal path before suddenly veering off or diving steeply, maneuvers that confuse and evade a Patriot interceptors. As Europe treats Ukraine as its first lineup of defense, Russia says being weak is not an option. With neither side backing down, the battlefront seems to be spiraling into a massive energy crisis in the region.
Now, joining us live from Paris is Dr. Paul Dorfman, who is a member of the Irish Government Radiation Protection Advisory Committee, and he chairs the Nuclear Consulting Group as well. Thank you so much for joining us on WION World is One. Let's just get right into it. As this energy war appears to escalate, is this pointing to a larger energy crisis in Europe?
I mean, you could argue that Putin is miscalculating here. There's been a move in Europe to address the drone threat. That's both Denmark and Germany. Europe is increasingly considering its options when it comes to Russia. in terms of the relative military nuclear spending, Europe collectively spends about 3 to 4 times more than Russia on key military spending. And when one considers the other kinds of issues involved, Zelensky has said that Russia is putting Zaporizhzhia at risk. The IAEA is saying loss of power underlines the nuclear risk during a military conflict. So taking all of this together, and also including the recent US military who seem to be profoundly underwhelmed at President Trump's plans, and all that implies for the US-Russian relationship, add to which, of course, Russia, one understands, is planning to import gasoline from Asia, as 40% of its refining capacity is offline. So taking all this into consideration, it's a deeply complex issue, as one understands. And it's an issue that is evolving in not necessarily a happy kind of way.
All right, Mr. Dorfman, also if we were to just talk about the rising specter of perhaps a nuclear threat and a larger war here, we did hear the frustration from Russian President Vladimir Putin, who hit out at the so-called West, and he's asked them to back off. And also, in the same breath, he said if Trump were president earlier, this war would have never happened. That being said, what will it take? Because we do know Trump earlier mentioned that he would get this war done in 24 hours and 100 days. It's been months, nothing's happened. So that being said, what will it take for perhaps this war to come to an end? Or do you think it's not going to happen in the near future?
It's a very difficult question to respond to. It has to be said, as discussed, that both the UK and France has significant military nuclear capacity. Putting, the US aside, I guess the problem being is the general concern about Putin's state of mind and his relationship with his own military and with his own sort of nomenclature, as it were, who presumably wouldn't necessarily wish for an exchange of nuclear ballistic weapons. So, in a sense, there's this underlying concern that Putin is playing this kind of madman sort of card that, if everything comes down to it, I'll launch. On the other side, you've got Trump, who again seems to be increasingly difficult to engage with, and then Trump's relationship with his military. So when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's probably these two leaders' relationship with their own military which may hold back this kind of move to what was once called mutually assured destruction.
All right. Well, Mr. Dorfman, thank you so much for joining us on WION World as One with your insights on this.
Thank you.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.